Welcome to Dairy Boys Live. I'm your host, Danny Ferry, and alongside of me today we have...
How about them Cowboys?
Team owner, Mark Reaver, also co-commissioner of the Dairy Boys League. Another week has come and gone, Mark. How you feeling about your team?
I'm feeling bad. I'm 0-2.
0-2?
I got a must-win game.
He's calling it right now. Week 3 must-win game, or else he might have to wear that thing. That's right. That is the Dairy Boys loser's helmet. Right now, it's a race between Mark and Gooch to see who's going to wear it.
It's not going to be me.
He says it's not going to be him. Let's get to Week 2 recap right away. And our top storyline is the streak is over. That's right. The Steel Curtain has lost. His 5-game losing streak is over. Let's take a look at that game. Let's start off with that game. Killer Pitts versus the Steel Curtain. Mark, let me know what you were thinking as you saw that these two teams were going to be playing.
I knew it would be a close game. I thought with Peyton Manning and Matt Stafford that he had the better two quarterbacks and that he would win it, but Peyton Manning definitely didn't play like Peyton Manning, and Steven Jackson wasn't so hot either, so I think that's really what messed him up and gave him the loss.
Yeah, and anyone who said at the beginning of the year that, drafting Robert Griffin in the first round for Killer Pitts was a stupid move, you're stupid right now because Robert Griffin is putting up Cam Newton-like numbers from last year and maybe even better.
I remember that was his first-round pick.
Yeah, first-round pick. So, to owner Kevin Luckey, great pick, man. Ultimately, RG3 was the key player in the game that got Killer Pitts over the edge. RG3 had 38 points by himself. That was more than both of Tom's quarterbacks, Matt Stafford and Peyton Manning, who only managed to get 32 combined. So if you get performances like that from your quarterbacks, you're going to win every single week. Moving on, in other games, we'll go right to your game, Mark. Semper Fi, and how about them Cowboys? And it was a close one. Up until Monday Night Football, we didn't know who was going to win it. Semper Fi came through, and Roddy White did you dirty.
Yes, he did.
The final score was 201 to 188. Mark, let me know how you feel about the way that your team played this week.
My team, I felt, played relatively well, except one guy, and that's Darren McFadden. He didn't give me the points I expected him to give me.
Right.
And I took a chance and put Ogletree in because Jennings was hurt for me, and that's why I don't draft Cowboy players.
And the one thing is that with putting Ogletree in, he is ultimately a wide receiver 3 anyway.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a what some would call a boom bust. He either goes out there and nails you and helps you with like 20-some points, or he's a bust and only gets you 4.1.
Yeah.
On the other side here, man, just a methodical beat down. I don't want to play against this guy with everyone getting almost 20 points with the exception of Nate Washington. The big story on Semper Fi is Reggie Bush tearing it up for almost 40 points. Listen, he picked up where he left off from last year, Mark.
Oh yeah, he wanted to be the number 1 back, and he's showing that he is. He can be the man. He don't need any backup or just be the swing guy. He can be the man down back.
Yeah, he goes for 197 and 2 touchdowns. Just taking a look at this, Mark, and I always bring this up, and it's probably going to eat you alive, when you're thinking about it, but according to Flea Flicker, if you would have played different players, your optimum players, you would have been victorious in this matchup. What is your response to that?
My response to that is, I know, but would you rather play Aaron Rodgers and only get 17 points? Who would have thought Brandon Weeden would have got me 37 points?
And that's the point I'm trying to make is Flea Flicker has some nice features on it, like optimum points, that at the end of the week we can all look back and be like, I could have scored 223 points. You're not going to play Brandon Weeden over Aaron Rodgers.
No.
You're an idiot if you do. And unless Brandon Weeden does it every single week from here on out, and then you decide not to change, listen, I agree with you completely. Tough loss. You're 0-2 now.
Yep, I'm in the toilet.
You're in the toilet bowl running.
I need a win. That's why I got to be 30-bit.
How do you approach, real quick, going into, you're 0-2. How do you approach going into next week? Knowing you're 0-2, do you go 1 week at a time? Are you looking long term? What's your thought process as you go through this?
Right now, it's 1 week at a time. I need to try getting a winning streak going. That's the only way I feel that I have a chance. I know no team that was 0-2 ever made the playoffs, but I need a win streak, and I feel I could do it.
Right.
If some other teams start having injuries and bad luck.
Yeah, I agree, and I think you're right. I think your next game is pivotal. As we saw last week, league champion Steel Curtain was 1-2 and made the playoffs last year. Actually won the league. I'm not writing you off yet, because I think you're a better manager than what has happened to this point. If you were playing against anybody else except for Semper Fi last week, I believe you win. So I'm not writing you off yet. Your team is too good for that. Let's move on. We'll go right to my game. Eagles Danny and Team Titan played, and I called Gooch out. And Gooch, you know what? You went down. That's right. I took you down.
Yes, you did.
Mark, along the way, this was kind of a bumpy week. We'll get to it later. There was a lot of trades that went down, but most definitely a trade that Team Titan made during the week affected the outcome of this game. Real quick, only standout performance that I see on my side was Trent Richardson for 30 points. What's your thoughts on Richardson, rookie, tearing it up like that?
Well, for the Browns, 2 rookies tore it up. I mean, their quarterback tore it up, and they were clicking. If they could do that every week, they're showing they could be actually probably an underdog, scary team. We have one every year.
That's true.
And I would love it because I hate the Steelers. So
yeah, and imagine when Joe Hayden comes back because he's suspended. They played the Eagles tough in Week 1 with him as their shutdown corner. When he comes back, I really think that team is going to give a lot of different teams trouble. So look out there. I'm just looking over here. Let's talk a little bit about Wes Welker. We just read on some news and notes that potentially the Patriots may be looking to shop Welker. I heard this week that he's actually not even starting anymore. Julian Edelman has gotten a start in New England in 2 wide receiver sets. What's your thoughts on Wes Welker after the 2 amazing years he had? What's with the raw treatment he's getting in New England?
I think maybe they think he's slowing down a little bit. That's one of the reasons why I didn't keep him as a keeper player. I left him go. I just feel he's always going through the middle. He's always getting hit, and that's just going to slow you down. It's the NFL. You ain't getting hit by 100-pound guys. They're like 250, 260.
Right. Do you think Brady has any little revenge for not catching that pass in the Super Bowl?
No, I think Brady sort of knows that he's going to eventually go. So he's trying to build it with the other receivers.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, moving on. We got Running Mad and Dirty Bit. This was a division game between undefeated teams, and Running Mad clipped Dirty Bit. I won't say it was a dominant performance from Running Mad, but he did enough in order to beat Dirty Bit. Really, if you look at it, Dirty Bit got snake bitten by Ahmad Bradshaw, getting injured in the first quarter of that game, only scoring him 1.5 points. I think that could have been the difference. Some contributions from Ahmad Bradshaw and Mark. What in the heck is going on with Dez Bryant?
I don't know what happened to the Cowboys, period. None of their receivers got points. Even Tony Romo had a bad performance, and he's always a stud usually when it comes to fantasy points. Every time they go to Seattle, they tend to have problems there.
Seattle is a tough place to play.
Yeah.
Everyone goes up there. Eagles went up there last year and got rocked. I think that Seattle has the best home field advantage in NFL.
Yeah, I would think. That's why they're called the 12th man.
That's exactly right. Just taking a look down through here, Cam Newton does what Cam Newton does best. He did it for Running Mad, scoring 34 points. Looking over here, Jimmy Graham being Jimmy Graham, 20 points for Dirty Bit. Ultimately, I believe it came down to probably, I remember last week I said whoever won between the Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, and Ahmad Bradshaw would win this game. And what's the stat line on Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis?
He got, 13?
Yeah, and what did Ahmad Bradshaw get?
1.
And that's about the differential in the final score.
And his kicker missed that game-ending field goal too.
Yeah, I mean,
he's always money.
I know, but good game for Dirty Bit. Lets us know that he's not going anywhere. He might have lost this week, but he's not going anywhere for sure. And then we're just gonna finish up here with Bleed Green and Team Piranha, and this game. This is one of the more quacky weeks or games this week. Team Piranha showed his strength that I thought he would have showed last week. But another trade, affected this. First of all, we got to talk about Hakeem Nicks going for 38.9 points. That Giants comeback against Tampa Bay, 199 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's great. I mean, that's an awesome performance there. On Bleed Green's side, he had Victor Cruz for 42.
I had Eli, and if I wouldn't have had Eli, I would have got blown out.
Yeah, the Giants really put some yardage up, some fantasy points up.
It's the fourth quarter. They're the fourth quarter team.
Yeah, for sure. I say the difference in this game was Jay Cutler only put up 3.6 points. That's pathetic. In a 2-quarterback league such as what we run here, you can't have that, Mark. What's your thoughts on this game?
I feel what helped Team Piranha was the trade that got him Phillip Rivers, because Brady had an off week and Phillip actually is having a pretty good fantasy season so far. His tight end also had a touchdown. He picked him up in a trade. He's got a loaded team. If his team plays to their potential, he's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we just want to go back real quick to our top story, which is the streak is over.
It is over.
It is over. The winning streak of league champion Steel Curtain is over. His 5-game winning streak going back to last year, which ran him through the playoffs and through week 1 this year, is over. Where do you think Steel Curtain goes from here, Mark?
I think his team is really going to have to rely on Peyton Manning, if Peyton Manning can be Peyton Manning, because if you look at his bench, the only other quarterback he has is Kevin Kolb, and he's a starter 1 week and he's second string the next week.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Steel Curtain, great variety in players here. Eric Decker, he's depending on Peyton Manning in 2 different areas on his team, with Eric Decker, with Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning throwing 3 first-quarter touchdowns. He still brought that team back. Threw his touchdown pass to my boy Demaryius Thomas. I think he goes with Peyton Manning. And Matt Stafford hasn't necessarily been putting up big points either. Last year Stafford was putting up 30, 40, 50 points a game.
Yeah.
This year so far, not nearly as good. On this week, only putting up 19.
I think what's running through his head is the Matt Ryan trade.
The Matt Ryan trade.
Matt Ryan trade. Yep.
Yeah, if you remember during the offseason, guys, the Steel Curtain and myself, made a trade. I traded him my number 1 pick in this year's draft for Matt Ryan. What do you think about the trade now? I mean, he did get Marshawn Lynch with his first pick. We talked about that. Marshawn Lynch put up 18.2. You know, I don't think he wins this game with Matt Ryan.
No. But I think in the long run he's going to hurt not having Matt Ryan.
All right. So anyway, let's move on. We're going to Market Watch. And we got 1.5 million trades to talk about here from week 1. Okay, maybe not 1.5 million, but we have quite a bit for week 1 activity. Let's go straight into your trade, Mark, with Team Piranha last week. Team Piranha received Rob Gronkowski, and in return, let me get there, he gave up CJ Spiller to your How About Them Cowboys team. And Kevin Ogletree. Sorry about that. Mark, give me some insight on that trade. How did it go down? What were the conversations like? Because we reported on the show last week that there was an original agreement that kind of you guys, you know, someone backed out, someone went here, whatever. But you guys were able to get back to the drawing table and make it work.
Yeah, I backed out. We were going to do a player for player, CJ Spiller for Gronkowski. But my team just has so many injuries that I was trying to just get a receiver. He was going to give me his tight end, but I asked him for a receiver, and with him having Brady, I think that helped. So he gave me what I wanted, and if I wouldn't have had CJ Spiller this week, I would have been in some trouble. So
that's true.
We sort of both made out in that trade.
Yeah, both of you did. Gronkowski, obviously number 1 receiver in the league. CJ Spiller, another great week this week. The only one that hurt you was Ogletree, but we never know. You know, nobody played good for Dallas, so I'm not sure that you stopped believing in him. So there was one trade. The other trade, and remember, just to throw it out there to everyone in the league, you only get 4 trades for the entire year. So both Team Piranha and How About Them Cowboys used 1 trade there. Later on in the week, Team Piranha made another move, and he traded for Phillip Rivers, and he gave up in return Matt Schaub and Matt Castle. Is that correct? Or is there more to that? Am I missing? Let me go back here.
And he got Mike Wallace.
That's right.
Tim Tebow.
And Mike
Williams.
And he gave up Matt Castle and Matt Schaub. So tell me a little bit about what you think about that trade, Mark.
I feel he made out with the deal. If you see, I mean, Castle had an okay game. Schaub puts up okay numbers. But I feel with Team Titan, that was probably one of his strongest players that he had. And
yeah, I agree.
I think it's going to hurt him in the long run.
And the thing you got to remember, Matt Schaub has an awesome running game. They don't even need Schaub to throw the ball. They can hand the ball off to Arian Foster and Ben Tate all game long, and they're gonna do well in offense. So there's going to be 70% of their touchdowns every week.
Yeah.
Every now and then you might get one to Andre Johnson, but it's not a lot. Then you got Matt Castle, who he did throw 2 touchdowns to Dwayne Bowe, but it's in garbage time, so it's not like meaning. You know, I don't really know. Team Piranha got Mike Wallace. You could consider him a number 1 receiver on some teams.
Yeah, for his speed.
Yeah, I mean, Phillip Rivers is putting up number 1 on some teams. Yeah, someone would like to have him as number 1.
Definitely.
So definitely, Team Piranha made out in this trade, and it showed during my matchup with Team Titan because he only scored 96 points. And, not that Rivers would have made a difference in our matchup, but I think between Mike Wallace, he scored a touchdown in his game, and Phillip Rivers threw for, I believe it was 2 or 3, and that could have made that matchup all that much better. So, I have to evaluate that trade as a complete win for Team Piranha.
Yes. And that was his second trade. So
and that
now
was his
he's down
second
to
trade.
2.
So now he's down to 2. And we talked about this week. Team Piranha's team looks an awful lot like my team from last year.
Last year, yep.
So
it's just Rivers had such a bad year last year that you traded him.
Yeah, I had to get rid of him, Rivers. And my hope is that when Ryan Matthews comes back this week, he'll take some of those touchdowns away from Rivers anyway, or he'll be able to, they'll be able to run the ball a little bit better. So, anyway, let's move on with our Market Watch segment and talk about some Week 2 waivers, which went off today. Let's get there real quick. We have quite a few people getting picked up, quite a few people getting dropped, and we'll just start with real quick. Let me go back here one. Okay, it's Team Titan. Team Titan was the first one to claim anybody, and he picked up running back David Wilson. You picked up Atlanta Falcons defense. Semper Fi picked up Donnie Avery, who I had seen a lot of people on different fantasy sites talking about. He cut Braylon Edwards to make room for him. Dirty Bit picked up Pierre Thomas, who had a good game, and he cut Ryan Williams. Bleed Green picked up Brian Hartline.
That's a Buckeye.
Yeah, he's a Buckeye. And, Ryan Tannehill, they seem to have chemistry there, so.
Yeah, that's definitely his go-to guy.
Nice pickup there for Bleed Green. Team Piranha picked up D'Angelo Williams. I actually looked at D'Angelo Williams myself, but I can never bring myself. I already got Jonathan Stewart, and I don't even want him half the time.
Yeah,
because
it's the 3 running back deal.
Carolina. Pick a freaking guy. Team Titan picked up Sidney Rice. He tried to pick him up last week and make some type of illegal action there. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Let's talk about
Let's take
that.
2 minutes to talk about that.
Each week, you're only allowed to get 2 people off the waivers.
Correct.
Personally, I want to penalize him just because I'm a little more stern. But
That's right.
Danny said for the first time they'll just take away, was it his last pick or the best player of the 3?
I just took away the last extra guy he was trying.
The extra guy he was trying to get.
Yeah.
But then if you get caught a second time, it's going to be point deductions.
Yeah, 10-point
10
deduction.
points. If you get caught the third time, then it goes to 20 points. So that's something you want to keep your eye on.
Yeah, just listen. The waiver process is a great thing. This is the best way we know how to monitor it. So you can get 2 players. So we don't have to worry about putting transaction limits on you guys, because the way Flea Flicker does it, it's whacked out. So this is the way we're going to police ourselves. So for anyone out there, 2 transactions per week. That's it. Off the waiver wire. You can do as many trades as you want, up to your 4 trades. And so we covered that. We just want to make sure that in case we missed that or if there was some confusion, now you guys know. Continuing on here, you picked up Scott Chandler later on in the day.
Yep.
Steel Curtain picked up Heath Miller and cut Jermaine Gresham. And then Bleed Green added Andre Brown, who seems to be the replacement over David Wilson in New York for Ahmad Bradshaw's injury. Team Piranha picked up Justin Tucker. And, Justin Tucker could have kicked a football like 70 yards, and it would have been good last week in the Eagles game.
Yeah.
Very strong leg. Good pickup there for Team Piranha. Probably get a lot of extra points on long field goals. And then Semper Fi picked up Brandon Gibson, and he cut Justin Blackman. So, a lot of moves on the waiver wire today. Anybody that really stands out to you? Any, people that got picked up, people that got dropped? Is anyone giving up on people too early, or, what do you think?
The only one that I see that when I look at it, I don't know if it's an upgrade or not, would be what Steel Curtain did, cutting Jermaine Gresham and getting Heath Miller. I know he's a Stiller guy. That might have something to do with it, but I think they're basically even. And Gresham he seems to get the ball a little more from his quarterback.
I think the big thing with Steel Curtain is he has Brent Selleck already on his roster. So Heath Miller may just be the backup. And Gresham has never really played up to his potential, in my opinion. But he is also, we talked about before the show, he is also coming back from that knee injury in the preseason, which,
Yeah.
it wasn't, if you saw it, it was really nasty. So it's actually lucky he's even playing right now. So I'd say that this isn't a necessary, I don't think this is a win or lose situation. I think you pick up Miller, you know what you're getting. But Jermaine Gresham definitely has a lot more upside than Heath Miller. So we'll have to watch and see how that move works out. Just looking down through here, Team Piranha continues, I think, to make good moves with his team. D'Angelo Williams is a good pickup if he plays. And I'm going to give you some props, man. I think the pickup of Atlanta Falcons defense and Scott Chandler was great. Falcons have been ball hawks, no pun intended with the team name.
Yeah.
Scott Chandler caught 2 touchdowns already. I think those are 2 good moves as well. So that's our waiver process. I'm sure more moves will happen as the season goes on. That brings us to our next segment. And last week we called it, players you wish you wouldn't have played. Well, we came up with a name for it now.
Yes.
This segment of the show is called Fat Sals of the Week. These are the players that you played and they just underperformed. So we're just going to do a quick rundown. You'll do a little analysis.
Okay.
Brandon Marshall plays for me. 4.4 points.
Never would have thought it.
Never would have thought it.
Not the way with him and Cutler been hooking up in the first game. I mean, I know the Packers are a better defense than the Colts, but you still would think them two would hook up at least once or twice in a game.
Brandon Marshall, you are a fat Sal. Next, Randall Cobb. For me, 5.8 points. Figured he was going to get some more points because Greg Jennings was out, and he gets 2 official touches. One was a reception, one was a rush for 5.8 points. Your thoughts?
I feel bad because I sort of talked you into playing him.
It's okay.
Because you were working and we were playing phone tag, and I told you how they were talking him up. And
listen, Randall Cobb is... When Greg Jennings leaves the Packers this year, because it sounds like that's what's going to happen, they're not going to be able to pay him, Randall Cobb's going to be the stud there. Andre Johnson for Team Titan, 5.1 points. Randall Cobb got more points than him. What's your thoughts?
Shocked. I'm a little shocked because Houston's such a good team. But I'm, like you said, I think they want to run the ball more.
Yeah.
But with that said, I had him last year, and I can't remember him ever having a week that small.
I know, I agree.
I mean, he gets injured a lot, but
sick.
he always usually puts up at least like 17 to 20 points a week.
Yeah. Next, Darren McFadden for How About Them Cowboys. 6.1 points. Mark, what's the deal, man?
He was supposed to be one of the better backs. He did good with like week 1 for me.
Yep.
I had no clue what happened this week.
Is the Dolphins defense that good, or are the Raiders that bad?
I think the Dolphins defense is okay. I think the Raiders are still like a work in progress.
I don't know. Darren McFadden is a beast. I had him last year on my team, and until he got hurt, he was just drilling out 20-point, 25-point games, and then he got hurt and was worthless. But 6.1, you're a fat Sal.
Yeah, big fat Sal.
Kevin Ogletree, 4.1 points for you.
Me again.
You made the trade with Team Piranha. He gets you 4.1 points.
Yeah, like, I was sort of in limbo because, I mean, I thought they were the same player. I had Brandon LaFell, and then I had Ogletree.
And LaFell tore it up.
And I was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I'm a Cowboys fan, but I thought he would still get open, and I was wrong. I should have played LaFell.
Well, I'm not giving up on Ogletree yet. I still think he's going to have a good impact for your team this year. But last week,
the whole Cowboys team just stunk up the place up in Seattle.
Dallas Cowboys, last week, you were a bunch of fat Sals. Steven Jackson for the Steel Curtain, 5.8 points. Steven Jackson. There's 31 points scored in the game, and Steven Jackson didn't score any of them. What's your thoughts on that?
Old man, run the ball.
Yeah, they said he had a groin injury after he did score the touchdown. The replacement refs missed it twice. Then he spiked the ball in the end zone, and there was some thought that Jeff Fisher pulled him out of the game. Here he ended up actually having a groin injury. So we're not going to get into replacement officials or anything like that, because that has nothing to do with fantasy football. But when they blow a call like that could have gave him 6 more points, I'd be a little bit on tilt. So to the referees, you're a bunch of fat sows. Larry Fitzgerald. Last week on this show, when Dirty Bit and I were going through, we talked about Larry Fitzgerald being picked to score over 20 points, and I said I don't agree with that. 1 catch for 4 yards. If I told you Larry Fitzgerald had 1 catch for 4 yards, what's your thought on that?
I'd say you're lying. His problem is he has no quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Or they have to just pick a quarterback, and even if he sucks at first, just continue playing him so he can learn the offense and make it better for your receivers. I mean, because it seems like they want to start Cobb, then they want to start the other guy, and then this guy, and then the guy from down the block that sells flowers. Like, that's their problem. They just need to stick with the quarterback.
And next week they're going. Arizona plays Philadelphia, who has shut everybody down. I have to say, not just being an Eagles fan, but Torrey Smith didn't do a thing, and Fitzgerald put up a big number on them last year. So this may be the time to play him, because exactly when you think he's not going to, he blows up for 30. Dez Bryant for Team Dirty Bit. 2.7 points. Abysmal numbers there.
Really bad numbers. It's the Cowboys played like a bunch of fat sows.
Yeah. Julio Jones, this one kind of surprised me for running mad. 5.5 points.
Yeah, I thought he would get the ball a lot more, and with me needing Roddy White to have a not so good game, I was rooting for Julio Jones, but Matt Ryan has so many weapons that it just seemed like he keys on one guy each game, and that's who he gets the ball to.
Okay. Julio Jones, if you're going to be... People say you're gonna compare with Calvin Johnson in fantasy points. When Matt Ryan throws you that ball in the end zone and puts it right in your lap, and you drop it, you're cut right away. You're a fat sow.
Yeah, he had that problem in college.
He did. So Julio Jones got the drops. Brandon Marshall dropped a touchdown pass too, so I can't, I have to mention that also. Jay Cutler for Team Bleed Green only scored 3.6 points and got into a fight with his entire offensive line.
Not smart. They had an all-around bad game, but I feel Cutler holds the ball way too long.
Yeah.
I mean, it is on, because some of them, like, he didn't even get into 2-step drops and they were on him. That's the line's fault. But sometimes the line's fault. It just feels like sometimes he holds the ball forever, and then he gets mad at his line for not protecting him.
I agree. Jay Cutler, 3-step drop and throw the ball to Brandon Marshall. Thanks. You're fat Sal. Chris Johnson, Team Piranha, 4.8 points. Is Chris Johnson done?
Yeah, I really think he is. I think people figured out how to play him, because all he is really speed. He can't run you over, and he's been a fat Sal for 2 years now, and they always project him to be a top running back, but I don't think he is anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's probably why he'll go off for about 3 touchdowns this week and 150 on the ground.
And make us look stupid.
And make us look really dumb. But for this week, all of the players mentioned, you are a bunch of fat sows. So
get to work.
Get to work. Get better, and quit being fat. Okay, we're moving on to the next portion of the show. Still part of Market Watch, which is Studs of the Week. So we have our fat sows and we got the studs. And I'm just going to start off. Eli freaking Manning, 48.8 for How About Them Cowboys?
I watched the first half with my wife and almost cried. And typical Eli fashion, the fourth quarter comes and he's just unstoppable.
Yeah.
If they would just, I feel if they would just let him be that way the whole game, like he could possibly be a top 3 quarterback if they would just let him have the offense wide open, have him call the calls.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like when he gets to call the calls and he gets to set the team up, tell the team where to go, he just clicks better.
Yeah, he's better in that fast-paced, no-huddle offense. Yeah. I agree with you. Trent Richardson for my Eagles Danny team, 30.6. I just want to say right here and right now that I am so glad I didn't listen to the Fantasy Football podcast I normally listen to. They were calling for Richardson to get traded this week. They were. They said that you should trade him, for a particular value that I won't mention here because, if you want to know, listen to the podcast, their podcast. But, listen, Richardson's not going anywhere. I'm not trading him. He's my running back for the future for a long time. He's going to get played every week because he has the potential to do this every week, even if the Cleveland Browns suck. 30.6 points.
But do the Browns suck?
That's the question.
Last week.
Everyone said
I had Brandon Weeden that went off.
Yeah.
And Brandon Weeden's not a young man. Like, people don't realize he played baseball. So he's already in his 30s.
Yeah.
So he's mature.
I think we'll find out as time goes on because Cincinnati's defense is terrible. They give up 44 to the Ravens, 27 to the Browns. We will find out I think in the next couple of weeks how good the Cleveland Browns are. But I do think Trent Richardson, 1 touchdown on the ground, 1 receiving. If someone's going to get touchdowns for him, it's going to be him.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's nobody else there. Reggie Bush, the real Reggie Bush, would you please stand up? 39.7% for 5.
I love it. I love the fact that New Orleans thought he was just a third down back. He said he wanted out, and he wanted to prove that he could be an every down back, and he's showing New Orleans. Like, New Orleans right now is thinking, I wish I had Reggie Bush.
Yeah. I agree.
I wish I played him every
How's Mark
down.
Ingram doing right now?
Yep, and they got like 3 running backs.
Yeah, really. It's a mess there. The next one, C.J. Spiller, 32 points for your How About Them Cowboys.
That I got him off a trade, and I couldn't have been happier.
Yeah. Do you think Fred Jackson's going to get his job back?
I still think he will because they paid him the money.
Right.
But the first signs of him looking like he's making the offense not look so good. Spiller, I think, could be right back in there.
Listen, I think I'm not a fan of running back by committees. If you look at my team, I don't own one. And if they stop giving Spiller the ball when he's having this type of production, I don't know. That's...
Hi Molly, this is your dad. I'm on the computer like I told you. Hi, it's my shout out. That's the end.
Welcome to Week 3 predictions. We're going to start off with the game of the week.
Don't be mad if we speak our mind and
tell you how it's going to be.
Yep.
So the game of the week, Running Mad versus Killer Pitts. Running Mad is 2-0. Killer Pitts is 1-1 and had an impressive victory. He was the guy that ended the streak of the Steel Curtain, the 5-game winning streak going back to last year.
And as of now, Flea Flicker has it. Running Mad would win 210.9 to 185.2.
So it's about 25-point differential. But Running Mad had that same score Flea Flicker had that same score for Running Mad last week when he only scored 145. So
yeah, it's nothing to go on. I just figured I'd let them know. So
yeah,
if they don't get a chance to get into it, they can at least watch our cast.
So I think after looking at both of these teams, we've decided that Robert Griffin and Cam Newton,
father and son,
brother and brother. I must say brother and sister. Wow. Every time
that
he
would
plays
be RG3. He's a Redskin.
I agree. So looking down through here, you got Vincent Jackson, Calvin Johnson. He put Kendall Wright in and actually switched out. Larry Fitzgerald is benched by Killer Pitts, which I think is a great move with Cobb as quarterback. On the wide receiver side for Running Mad, you got Michael Crabtree, AJ Green, and Julio Jones. Got to give the nod to Running Mad on the wide receivers personally. What do you think?
He has Megatron and Vincent Jackson. I'm going to go opposite, Killer Pitts.
Killer Pitts.
Yep, I think he has the better receivers.
I see. So who are you picking to win?
Right now, I am going to pick Running Mad simply because I think Remo's going to have a better game and Adrian Foster is going to be Adrian Foster and put up points.
Yeah. Josh Freeman's the reason why Running Mad wins. If Killer Pitts had a second quarterback, he'd be in contention for a championship this year, in my opinion. So Running Mad, we both picked. We have him winning. Moving on, we're going to go with the champion from last year, Steel Curtain, against Bleed Green. Steel Curtain. Oh, the sting of defeat has to be hurting you today. But
yeah, how's it feel?
But everybody
so
loses. Everybody loses. We can't always have the good feeling, Tom. So, taking a look down through here, Peyton Manning obviously has to play better this week for Steel Curtain to have a chance.
And just to let them know, the points, Bleed Green.
Yeah, Flea Flicker.
203, and they had the Steel Curtain at 183.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to tell you that, but we all know how that goes.
Steel Curtain has Matt Stafford, Peyton Manning on his side. Bleed Green has Mike Vick and Sam Bradford going right now. 2 years ago when Peyton Manning wasn't injured and Matt Stafford was a rookie. If Matt Stafford and Peyton Manning were in their prime right now, I mean, Matt Stafford's hitting it, but Peyton Manning, this would be a landslide for Steel Curtain. But Peyton Manning's shown some struggles here with early on, whether it's with his offensive players or...
His arm looks a little dead.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him throw a 20-yard pass that wasn't wobbly. But also Sam Bradford has only had one good week yet so far this year. So, and then you got Vic who's throwing picks.
Well, his other option is Jay Cutler, who is throwing picks.
And beating up his offensive lineman.
Yeah, that's bad. Come on, offensive lineman.
Yeah.
He's a little man.
Jay Cutler was a fat Sal today, so... taking a look at this, I'm going to have to go with let me see, Bleed Green's running backs. They're good. I got to go Steel Curtain on this one because if champions are champions, he doesn't lose this game.
I'm going with, from what I can see, I'm going with Bleed Green.
There you have it. He went Bleed Green, I'm going Steel Curtain. We will see.
Yep.
You know, champions don't lose 2 games in a row. And it's a division game too, so.
Yes, it's big.
Let's move on to your game, Mark. Dirty Bit, and how about them Cowboys? Dirty Bit has proven to be a tough competitor so far this year.
Yeah, he's definitely not the West York Bulldogs.
Yeah, and we are thankful for that.
Yes.
Taking a look at this.
The score, they have Dirty Bit 153 and me at 190.
And you were pretty close to that last week at 188, so
yeah.
How many garbage time touchdowns is Dwayne Bowe going to get when Kansas City loses to New Orleans? Last week he got 2, which really helped.
Yes.
So your wide receivers definitely have to step up. I mean, Malcolm Floyd, Dwayne Bowe. Malcolm Floyd's consistently produced. Dwayne Bowe had a good week last week. I think your question mark is Kevin Ogletree.
Yeah, I need to see if Greg Jennings, I didn't really get to check if he'll be, because he was questionable for the last game, so if he can play, he will be there instead of.
According to Flea Flicker, it says that Jennings practiced Tuesday, so, and that was expected. Question for you: you're leaving Brandon LaFell on the bench.
Brandon.
20 tore it up last week, a touchdown. He's projected to have 23 points this week. Still going with the Ogle.
If I feel Jennings is alright, it would be Jennings, but no, I would put LaFell in over Ogletree, just because I'm a Cowboys fan and he got me upset.
Yeah. I'm going to have to, taking a look at, Ryan Fitzpatrick has to have an outstanding game. Ben Roethlisberger cannot perform like he normally does against Oakland, which means 4 interceptions and some horrible loss. For whatever reason, Oakland is the kryptonite for Pittsburgh, along with Demaryius Thomas.
It's that black hole.
Yeah. I'm going to call, how about them Cowboys winning, but I'm going to say it's closer than what anybody thinks. I'm going to say it's a matter of points, and you win, to keep your season alive.
I'm going with me, but I think it's going to be a very, very close game, too.
Yeah. So we both got, how about them Cowboys? I know. All these games are close. Welcome to the Dairy Boys League. For those of you who weren't here last year, not every game was close, and we didn't have this much competition.
Nope. And it's good having competition.
It is. Moving on. Team Piranha against Eagles Danny. I'll let you comment on what you think before I go into the 5,000 reasons why I could win. So.
Okay, well, the points right now, Flea Flicker has Team Piranha at 205, and then they have Danny at 170. I definitely don't think that's right.
But I haven't done anything to prove that I'm not right. Because my team has only scored 158 on its top week so far.
Yeah.
They could be over-projecting me.
Yeah, it's true. You don't score, but you win. That's all that matters. With me, I see Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers. I think they're both going to have a good game. The only thing that's a little shaky with Brady is the way his offensive line has not been able to protect him at all.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think
they have him thrown for 359 against the Ravens.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. Yeah, that's high. That's
I think that's
high.
Really high.
Yeah, that's
and it's
high.
not because I don't think Tom Brady can't do it, but with the offensive line not giving him time, he's going to have to make quick passes or they're going to have to run the ball. So that's just my thought on it. Go ahead.
And I think with him taking Chris Johnson out and putting Jamal Charles in, I think that's a good move because Chris Johnson is a has-been.
We don't know what New Orleans defense is going to bring next week either because they haven't stopped anybody on the ground.
And with his receivers, he has the threat with Mike Wallace, and then he has the touchdown hookup with Rubkowski and Brady. They just always seem to get the touchdowns.
So what are you looking at my team? Who has to perform for me to win this game, you think?
Matt Ryan's going to do his normal thing. He's at San Diego. Trent Richardson, I think he's going to have another good game against Buffalo. I think if you can get in your other running back, slipping my mind right now.
Ryan Matthews,
I think that's going to be a big change.
Said he participated in Wednesday's practice.
All right, so you're probably going to put him in. I would have to go in another close one. I'm going to go with Danny. I'm going to go with you to win the game.
Holy cow, I can't believe it. He picked me. I can't imagine starting the season. Last year I started 4-0 and ended up 8-6, missing the playoffs, and I just can't take that heartbreak. So I'm predicting I'm losing this game, and I'm willing to take a loss, especially to Team Piranha, who I think has a good game, or has a good team. I'm not quite there yet. Some of my players aren't quite there yet, but when I play Team Piranha again, I think it'll be a different story.
I think you beat him.
So, Team Piranha, I think you got me this game, and that sucks. So, let's go to the final game of the week. Semper Fi against Team Titan. And what is going on with Team Titan here? Who has to play well? I mean, obviously everyone has to produce, but his quarterbacks are about this 17th or 18th in the league right now in fantasy points.
If you just look across, they're predicting Matt Schaub to have 22 points. Then they're predicting Flacco to have 20. Then you go over to Semper Fi, and you have Breeze. They're predicting that 45, and Alex Smith to have 28. That just tells you the story there. With the only thing I see really that he may have more is nothing.
Nothing.
According to Flea Flicker.
Wait, Vernon Davis. No.
No, that's
that is true.
Jermichael.
Wait, his defense 10 against Seahawks 6.
Okay, all right.
Gooch, you are not going to be a complete loser this week because Saints are going to get you 10 points.
They're going to get you 10 points. But me personally, if you do not somehow figure out something, you could have a very, very long season.
Yeah.
Which means I would, right now, as of today, I would predict you're wearing the gold hat.
Oh, bold prediction from another 0-2 team. But Gooch, I think that's a challenge. I think that's worth at least a little message board smack talk.
Yep.
So, get on there.
That's just me.
I want to hear a little smack talk.
If you want me to, I can paint it powder blue. Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Team Titan. But, of course, they got it. 148 Team Titan, 211 for Semper Fi. I think that's right. I think he's going to beat Team Titan pretty bad.
Yeah, I got Semper Fi winning this after being the top scoring team last week and Team Titan being the lowest scoring team last week. Luckily, Gooch, it's not a division game, so even if you do lose this, it doesn't hurt as much, which I think you are going to lose it, but it's not going to hurt as much. So, but who knows? Like we said,
it's fantasy football.
It's fantasy football.
Never know.
And that brings us to the next, our final topic of the day, and our closing point is how much of fantasy football is skill and how much is luck. According to Flea Flicker, if you check out your schedule, it tells you after the game how much luck you had while playing against an opponent. And so far this year, my lucky rating is in the positive.
Mine is not.
And his is not. I'm 2-0, and you are?
0-2.
We would like to conclude by saying that it's better to be lucky than good. Because as you see, How About Them Cowboys was the second highest scoring team in the league last week at 188. Third. And he lost because Semper Fi.
The broadcast.
You ready? Let's go!